Alex Sanchez once said, "The pressure on gay teens can be overwhelming. To keep secrets, to tell lies, deny who you are, and to try to be who you're not." No one would agree more with this than Mary Griffith. Mary Griffith was an inspirational woman that had the courage to stand up for the rights for gay teens. But of course, like in most situations, it didn't start off this way. In fact, you could say it was quite the opposite. For my informative speech, I will be talking about the unique story behind Mary Griffith and how she's become such an influence in the gay community. First, I will talk about Mary Griffith's childhood and her uprising. Then, I will explain the devastating story behind her youngest son, Bobby, and how it has affected her life decisions. Lastly, I will explain why she chose to become an advocate for gay rights and how she has affected the gay community. Mary Griffith was born on October 13, 1934. She was the fourth child of Ophelia Harrison and Alvin Harrison. When the nurse handed this squeamish 5-pound infant to her mother, Ophelia had a difficult time grabbing on. You could say Mary spent a good part of her life trying to get her mother to do just that, to grab on. Mary had felt ignored by her mother for most of her childhood. Mary was raised as a devout Christian, and God represented safety as well as danger in her family. This was a contradiction that would affect much of her life. At the age of 21, she had married Bob Griffith. Within the first years, they had conceived 4 children. Her youngest son, Bobby, was a gentle spirit. She would say he was too good, too obedient. It didn't take further observation, though, to see that Bobby was much different than ordinary boys. When Bobby was 17, he had confided into his older brother that he could possibly be gay. Life would soon change for the entire family when Mary had discovered his secret. She had believed that God could cure him, that if Bobby continued to pray, God would simply get rid of all of his problems. Bobby had disagreed. His church's disapproval of homosexuality and his mother's attempts to push away his newfound feelings had caused him to pull himself away. At one point, the overwhelming pressure from his family and church was too much. He had decided to jump from a freeway bridge into the path of an oncoming 18-wheeler truck, killing him instantly. After the death of Bobby, Mary was faced with tragedy. She had begun to question her faith and the church's faith as well. Her son's death was the turning point for Mary's life. She had begun to educate herself about homosexuality, and she had begun to question the things that she was taught and learned in church. Today, at the age of 78, Mary still has the courage to stand up and fight for the rights for people like myself. She's become an advocate for gay rights and has played a huge portion in the gay community. She's become an active member with local gay youth organizations like PFLAG, otherwise known as Parents, Family, and Friends for Lesbians and Gays, as well as BANGO, the Bay Area Network for Gay and Lesbian Educators. She was also given the opportunity to speak at a council meeting in support of a local gay day, which would give people with differences the opportunity to be themselves for one entire day. Sadly, the proposal was disapproved, but that didn't stop her. In fact, it encouraged her. Eventually, she participated in the annual gay parade in San Francisco, where she had the opportunity to walk in the parade with her fellow PFLAG members. This picture is a picture of Mary Griffith and her husband in the back corner, Bob Griffith, participating in one of the annual gay parades in San Francisco. As you can see, her t-shirts is the PFLAG, which is one of the biggest organizations she's worked with for gay youth organizations. As she continued to walk in the parade, she had finally realized something. She was able to come to terms with her son's death. She was finally able to come to terms with her son's death, and she had vowed that she would work hard for the rights for gays and lesbians. As I mentioned earlier, she's done a lot to raise awareness about her story and to bring people's attention to the issues of gays and lesbians. These are some of the examples outside of the organizations that she's worked with on helping to bring awareness. These are simple covers of a Lifetime premiere movie called Prayers for Bobby, as well as a book that she helped create, which is called Prayers for Bobby, A Mother's Coming to Terms with the Suicide of Her Gay Son. They're both incredible pieces, and I would advise that you both read and watch them. So in conclusion, You have heard the unique story behind Mary Griffith and how she's become such an influential person in the gay community. We've had the chance to talk about her childhood and how her mothering's strict parenting and religious influences affected much of her life. We've also talked about the devastating story behind Bobby and how his choice to take his life has also played quite an influence in hers. And lastly, how Bobby's story influenced her to take a stand for all the Bobbies in the world and to fight for their rights. Thank you.